Hey friends, welcome to another episode of the Genius Way Show. I'm your host, Ben Hummel. I hope you guys had a great week. I am really happy to be here today to talk about this really important aspect of your life and my life, and that is how to support and nurture your genius. And so, one of the things that we have to talk about first of all is, do you know that you have a genius? And what do you think that is? So the word genius has already been used for currently, for the last, I don't know, maybe 50 years as an exceptional person in some way. But as you know or may not know, way back in the day with the Greeks and Romans, genius actually meant a spirit or a quality that a person has, that everyone has, and that is born with. And that quality has an instinct to express something in particular in this life. And that expression of your genius leads to a fulfilling and very purposeful life. And so the first step in nurturing that is to gain the precious awareness of your own genius, to know that it exists, to know that life purpose and life fulfillment are real things that really are important and can be gone after, sought after, and lived out. So that's the first thing to know. So your genius is absolutely real. And what's it going to take for anyone to get from a point where I thought only people were geniuses to the point where I I realize that I have a genius and it's my job to bring that genius out and support it and nurture it. Well, that's what this show is for. To make your genius more and more real to you every day. And so I'm going to supply some practices and insight orienting exercises for you to understand that more and more about your own genius. So let's start with a quote. The quote goes like this. It's a Robert Frost quote from one of his poems. And the quote is about home. And he says, home is that place where when you have to go there, they have to take you in. So I want you to think about that. When you have to go there, they have to take you in. So that implies that there's a place where no matter what we do or who anybody thinks we belong. There's a place where we belong, where it is natural for us to be. And so that's what Robert Frost is kind of indicating in that line from his poem. And so this idea of home can be likened to genius in so much as the genius that we are going to be experiencing hasn't been created. It already existed when we were born. So, juxtapose that idea, something existing before we even learn to talk, before we have any experiences, juxtapose that with the identity that comes from the things that have happened to us. So most of us go through life and we experience whatever experiences we experience, good things, bad things, traumatic things, successful things. We experience them, and as a reaction to what we experience and the things that happen around us, we form a personality, we form a certain identity. And that identity kind of keeps changing as we go along according to what happens to us, what happens to and around us. And so contrast that with we were already born with a genius that had a fund of expressive energy. It already had something to express before we learned anything. And so the idea of home means let me find out what I have in my genius bank account first, which I call the genius drive. Let me find out what I have there so that I can have a really pure self expression as opposed to just reacting to the things that are happening around me. And so that's the idea of home that I'm talking about. Home is the place where when you have to go there, they have to take you in. So when you go and look for your genius, which is your existentially fueled expressive self, your expression coming from existence, when you go there, it has to let you in because it is you. It's your deeper identity. It's your deeper individuality. And so the idea of spending time finding that and the importance of finding that can't be underestimated, can't be lessened by anything. It is so important to find that to be an actual full human being living a purposeful life. And so to marry this idea of genius and returning to your genius to pull up all the information about it and express it in your life, marrying that with the idea of home, how does that feel for you? What does that seem like to you? Because home is different for everybody, but like Robert Frost quoted there, home is the place that where you belong. Your home, you don't have to do anything, you don't have to be anyone, you don't have to excel, you just have to go there to belong to it. So I'm going to play you a short clip of what it feels like to what home means to a bunch of people here. So it's just like a random clip here that that kind of describes all that. And take a look at this, and then we'll kind of keep talking about this after the video's over.
When you think of the word home, what do you think about?
Home, where I was born and where I was raised.
Holidays,
chimneys and stockings and stuff.
Memories.
We had this really narrow garage. Every morning it'd be like the same thing, like wake up so-and-so to move their car.
I mostly think of like the beach.
Snow. Whenever I take those breaths in Denver, Colorado, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is home.
There's this tree, and I would just get up there and read all the time. The food.
Bob Evans. My whole childhood, we would always go there and just have like these breakfasts on Sundays and things like that.
The smells.
The house filled with good roasting, cooking things.
I sleep in a lot, so it's always cold by the time I wake up.
My mom.
She makes really good mac and cheese.
I think of my mom's spinach and rice. Everyone would be like, what is in this? Holy crap, this is amazing.
Home is just where you make it.
Wherever my family is. We could be in an igloo. That's home.
I think I broke my mother's heart when I referred to where I live now as home.
That place where you can go when things are going crazy in the world.
When I go in and I close the door behind me, it's quiet and I'm all alone in there, and I love that.
That is the one place I can really trust, that I can go back and relax.
In my room, how it's like really cute. Warm, cozy, comforters.
My bed. I liked being tucked in it at night.
I'm really close with my mom, so I think about sitting around the kitchen table and having chats with her.
When I'm going to sleep, she tells me a story.
Baking with my grandkids.
I think about playing the piano. My little kitty cats that I live with.
When I play basketball with my brother, I feel like I'm at home.
The thing that always sticks with me is the people that were in my life.
My family.
And a lot of times family is not blood related.
Good friends. My dolls. I love them.
I've just come in contact with tons of people that I just know are meant to be in my life for the rest of it.
When I think about home, what a good life I've had.
It really is just where the people that I love are, you know, so we can make a home in a tent and we can make a home in a mansion, but it's got to be the people that I love. They've got to be present.
And so you can see everyone had a kind of a different feeling of what home was, and they described it in many, many different ways. But there's something underneath all of those descriptions that felt really, really kind of warm and loving and caring and relaxing and restful, something that made their heart feel really full. That was underneath all of those descriptions there, and I'm probably pretty sure that's the same for you. So that feeling of being home, of being kind of complete, of being where you belong, those are all the feelings also associated with genius, on top of the feelings of kind of excitement, of this is what I'm meant to be doing, this is exactly where I'm meant to be, doing what I need to be doing, saying what I need to be saying, all those familiar feelings that bypass or have nothing to do with our reactions to the things that have happened to us. This genius home is basically our resource and our resting place. But the thing is, you need to know how to get there. You need to know how to recognize your genius when it shows up. What are the things and what are the circumstances in which you can put yourself to make your genius more present? what are the circumstances where your genius naturally comes out more? So that's the work. And to do that kind of work, you have to have a real focus and a real commitment, just like anything else. If you're learning to be a baseball pitcher, you've got to practice pitching every day, all your different pitches. You have to go to the gym, you have to exercise, you've got to go to trainings. Whatever you're wanting to do, you've got to practice. And it's the same thing with learning to recognize your genius. You have to practice it. You have to make a space for it, and you have to be focused on it and have a little way to practice it every day. So you can't practice your genius as much as you practice a way to let the genius show up. So learning to recognize the qualities that your genius has is the key. So what do you know about genius now already for yourself? We've done a bunch of exercises here. If you're the first time tuning in, we're going to do another one today. And every exercise that I kind of guide you guys through is meant to bring up some content from your genius. So everyone here has heard the word the unconscious, right? And the unconscious is kind of like a layer of consciousness beneath the conscious level, where whatever we don't like or whatever we can't express in the conscious realm, it kind of gets packed in there. There's a collective unconsciousness connected to everyone else, and we kind of hold our shadow selves in that area. But there's another layer of consciousness in terms of talking about genius, and I call that layer the prima conscious. The prima conscious has all of your genius qualities in it. That layer of consciousness is just for expression. And it's full of your genius expressions. It's full of your qualities, your attributes, your leanings, your callings. It's there. You're never going to lose it. You can only ignore it. So it needs some way, you need some way to connect to the prima conscious level of yourself and bring out that expressive material. And that's what our exercises every week on this show are there to do. They're there to access your prima conscious, where you already know what my genius is. When have I expressed it in this life? When have I felt that amazing feeling of expressing something that's really true to me, and then being able to access that when you want to? That's the whole key. So I want you to take a look at this other clip that I have for you. This is about knowing what you're looking for, like I was just talking about with genius. It's about knowing what you're looking for and knowing how to recognize it when you finally see it. And it's just a nice little metaphor for that. It's from the Last Unicorn. You may have seen it before. If not, it's a nice little clip. So take a look, and I'll see you on the other side. So in this clip, you can see that the woman was looking for a unicorn her whole life. And when the unicorn finally showed up, she was there and able to recognize it. Not only to recognize it, but when the unicorn was going to go on a journey, she's like, I'm going too. I finally found you. I'm not going anywhere. This doesn't matter. Wherever you're going, I'm going too. And so we hope we can find that same kind of enthusiasm when you discover where your genius is, what it wants to say, and that you kind of take on that task of expressing it, because you're the only one that's going to be able to do that. And so with this week's topic of how to nurture and support your genius, the first thing that we've already been talking about is to have a general awareness that your genius is there, that it exists, that it's a real thing, not just some made up silliness. It's a real thing. And not only that, you're supposed to find it. That's part of what this life is for, to find your genius and express it. And I don't even care if you call it genius. Call it my existential identity. Call it my bozo head. I don't care what you call it. Doesn't matter. There is something there for you to express organically that you were born with that needs your focus and attention. So that's what the next step is. To nurture your genius expression, you got to know that it's there, firstly. Second, we need to be able to focus and commit to it. Focus and commit to pulling out what your genius qualities are in order to express yourself in a fulfilling way. So the second step about focus and commitment means you're going to probably have to do something a little bit different than you had before, because we only have so much focus and commitment to go around. Now think about it. Every day we focus and commit to something. Recently, I had to catch myself. I've been kind of having this kind of head and chest cold lately, and it's been taking a while for it to move through my system. And every day I find my mind going to the fact that you got a cold. Oh, is it still here? Oh, how much longer is it going to be here? Oh my God, what is it? And I'm focusing on that, and I've on some level committed to checking to see how sick I am that day. And so instead of focusing on, hey, what can I do to heal this? How much better do I feel? I have been focusing on that and taking that focus and commitment away from something like my genius. Okay, so we only get to spend a certain amount of focus and commitment every day, and we get to decide what we want to spend that on. It all takes time. What do we want to spend that time doing? So if you're looking for a fulfilling life, something that is kind of above the fray of mediocrity, you're going to want to make sure that you spend your time, your precious time that's completely moving away every second. You're going to want to spend your time finding something that's that true and deep and real to you, which is, what I'm talking about, which is that genius level of existence. So that's how one way to focus and commit is to commit your time. So it's easy to have the idea. It's easy to hear, oh, you have genius, it's great, and you're unique and blah, blah, blah. That's all great. Cool. It's an idea, though. If you're going to take that idea and actually experience something from it, to feel something from it, to change your life in some way, you have to spend time to make that idea into an experience. Okay? It's great to be enthusiastic and great to be inspired, but the inspiration only goes so far. And I'm sure you've experienced this. How many times have you been inspired by something or someone, maybe somebody else was experiencing their genius or expressing it, and you saw it and you're like, wow, I'm going to do that. And you got really excited and your endorphins were going, you had plenty of dopamine, everything was happening and feeling great. And then where is that now? What happened to it? Inspiration is not in and of itself enough to move us into that fifth gear of expression. It's not enough. You have to take that inspiration and work with it. You have to take that inspiration and do something with it in the world. Okay? So to be focused and committed means to take it from the idea down into, let's call it an action. And that action could be as simple as, what are one of my genius qualities that I have brought up from minding my prima conscious, from doing some kind of exercise? What content did I bring up, and how can I express that today? Like, let's say, you do an exercise like the ones I offer in this show, and what you find out is, oh, I should be singing every day. My image is that I want to be on a stage singing. And so you can either hope that that happens, that somebody comes up to you and offers you a way to sing, or you can be singing every day. You can be going to auditions. You can find ways to get your singing voice out there. There's lots of things you can do, but these things are not going to happen by accident. You have to take the inspiration from the idea down into the action phase. And so that's the next thing to do. So let's do a guided visual here. And I'm going to show you a different way of bringing your inspiration about your genius, your idea, down into action. That's a good one for us to do today. So take a look at this guided visualization. We're going to mine your prima conscious, that layer of consciousness that has your genius qualities in it. We're going to ask that to bring up material and answers to you as to how you can express your genius qualities right now on a daily basis to get better and better and better about bringing them out for a fulfilling expression. So let's go into the guided visualization, and I'll see you on the other side. Close your eyes and take a deep breath in and then deeply exhale. We're going to set an intention for you to discover an aspect of your genius that's important for you to express in your life. See this intention as an energetic frequency that's permeating your body. This intention will serve to guide you to an image that represents what your genius wants to express. Imagine that you're walking into an elevator and wanting to go to a specific floor. As you look at the buttons on the panel, you notice that each floor is a level of your own consciousness. You can see a button for the superconscious, the conscious, and the unconscious levels, as well as a button that will take you directly to your prima conscious level, or the level that contains all of your genius qualities. You press the button for the prima conscious level. After a short ride, you arrive and the doors open. And as you exit the elevator, you can see a wide lobby with doors along each wall. One door in particular is calling to you, and you walk over to that door. You notice that there's a sign on the door itself. What does that sign say? You open the door and walk into that room. On the other side of the room, you see an object that represents your next genius expression. Approach the object. What is this object? Notice everything you can about it. Now, this object has a message for you. What is this message? And with this message intact now in your awareness, you leave the room, move through the lobby, and get back onto the elevator. You press the button for the conscious level, and in a few moments, the doors open into your conscious reality. In this conscious setting, recall the message given to you by your genius object. And in this conscious world, see yourself expressing this message outwardly. What are you expressing? Through your experience here, you understand that expressing this message every day in some outward expression is the way for you to allow your own genius to be a part of your everyday life. Through this deep listening to the message within your prima consciousness, you can turn the idea into an action. And that your inner genius can be expressed through your outward actions. And now, you're coming back into the present moment. And when you're ready, open your eyes and come back into this room. Okay, so how was that experience for you? What was brought up from your prima conscious level into your conscious awareness? And then also, what are you going to be able to practice every day so that you make your genius more available to your conscious self? So remember, this is all yours. This is all you. This is something that you've been bringing with you that it's time for you to pull out and use for your life expression. This is your path to living a fulfilling, expressive life. And so let's take a short commercial break, and then we're going to come back with the third aspect of how to nurture and support your genius, which is, well, we'll tell you on the way back.
Ben Hummel's writing comes from a deep well of experience, practice, and wisdom. The Genius Way teaches you the life skills you need to find your own unique genius. Summoning Genius helps readers to turn a midlife crisis into an opportunity for personal growth. You can find Ben's books on thegeniusway.com, Amazon, and most online booksellers.
And we're back. And so the last thing we're going to talk about today in terms of supporting and nurturing your genius is the fact that you have to make the effort over a period of time. And so let me share a quote with you. This is by the writer James Baldwin. It's a short little quote, and it goes like this. Beyond talent lie all the usual words: discipline, love, luck, but most of all, endurance. And so that's kind of what it takes for this genius quest that I'm talking about. It takes a long-term commitment and investment of your time and ideas and energy and attention. So endurance accompanies all of those things, no matter how talented we are or how much, how many beautiful ideas we have. If we're really serious about something and you're really serious about nurturing your genius, you have to keep going. You have to keep going even further than you think you can go. And that endurance part means I'm in this for the long haul. I recognize how important it is to express my innate genius qualities And I am in it for the long haul, no matter what happens. No matter what happens, I'm going to find and express what I brought here with me. That's the endurance part. So the three things: focus and commitment, knowing that your genius is there, being convinced that it's there, and then endurance. These three things together will completely take care of the question of how to express your genius, how to make it a stronger part of your life, how to know that it is your life at its kind of base expressive element, and how to get out what's actually there, how to create a framework to get out what's actually there in your genius. So the more commitment you have to this, the easier it's going to be. The more time you spend on it, the better it's going to be. And the more you keep going through endurance, the easier it's going to be to do this. Your whole life will shift in terms of, this is what's important to me. This is what makes me get up in the morning. This is what makes me feel good about coming home from what I do. This aspect of my life is about my genius self-expression. When you got all those three things there, it's not a problem. You're going to know exactly what you're doing, and you're going to be able to find a way to express your genius no matter where you are or what you're doing. So I really wish that for you. I hope that you get some kind of spark from this, and then you take that spark and put it into action. That's what this show is about. If you're alive, you have a genius. And your genius contains everything that's needed for you to live a fulfilling and purposeful life by expressing what it's calling you to express. As you begin to understand the conditions that reveal your genius expression, you get better and better at creating those conditions so that you have direct access to your creativity and uniqueness. Remember, your genius self is a gift from existence and therefore has the qualities of pure existence within it. When you're expressing your own genius, you're giving the rest of us a chance to see existence and creation in action the way it wants to come through you. So remember to nurture your genius self as your direct link to the creativity of existence, and don't deprive the world of what it has to say. And that's our show for this week. I want to thank you so much for coming and sharing this time with me. I really enjoyed spending this with you. I look forward to seeing you next week, and I want to encourage you to take everything that you've learned here, whatever's come up for you, use it in your life, use it on your self-discovery journey, and share it with other people in your life. So until then, stay curious, be kind to yourself, and remember that your genius has something to say.
Thanks for watching The Genius Way Show with Ben Hummel. Make sure to visit thegeniusway.com for the resources you need to help you on your personal life journey. You can contact Ben at ben@thegeniusway.com. And you can follow The Genius Way with Ben Hummel on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Thanks for streaming The Genius Way Show with Ben Hummel.